Now here's where things get interesting. Now notice that what we've done with this median noise layer is if I option click on the mask, you can see how this is exponentially darker than this version. So all I've done is thicken up this mask a little bit, going through it with a brush, a little bit heavier brush, maybe 50% opacity, and going through some of those areas where we've got a little bit of haloing. The best way for you to understand that is just to kind of go through it a bit. If I can look, like if we looked at, say, her arm here, and you can see that if I'm on the soft arm median noise, and if I paint with white to reverse the effects, I start painting in this kind of like glossy halo almost on her arm, and what I don't want to see that. So what I want to do is I want to paint with black and mask that out, and I can start to see less of the halo, and I can see more of her hair sticking out, and it gives me more of a real rendition of what to expect. So that is why we do that, and that's why that's so effective. So now let's look at building in real skin texture, and this is where things get really interesting. I'm going to get a little bit smaller version, and I'm going to double click on this box here, and this box here is the quick mask options. So if I double click on this, it defaults to having the masked areas selected. We want to select the selected areas radio button. So areas that we select when we're in quick mask mode are areas that are going to be selected. You can change the color if you like. I'm going to hit B for the brush, and I'm going to make sure my brush is at 100%. And I know that I'm a quick mask because this is dark and my layer is in gray. So I'm in quick mask mode. Now where I paint is basically I'm making a selection. And what I want to do is I want to select her skin. So I'm just going to go through and just real quickly and not super accurately select her skin. I'll do her whole face, including her eyes and her nose and her lips. You'll see where I go with that here in a second. And then we can do her arms. And right now all we're doing is making a selection. All this is making a selection. So now if I switch to white as my foreground color, get a little bit smaller brush, I can actually paint this back out. So I can get a little bit smaller brush and paint out like the areas here and some of the areas that might be oversprayed here. I could actually take out her eyes and her lips. This is not crucial as far as this being exact, but if you don't want to be too sloppy as well. So here I am just going to button up some of the areas that are a little bit loose. And there I've got a good copy of her skin. So now I tap the Q key, come out of quick mask mode, now I've got a selection here. Now that selection is based on everything that I've got going. Now what I have on is the softening. I don't want the softening on, so I turn the softening off. So I have no softening on. All I've got is even skin with texture. So I've got even skin based on all the layers here that we've done before with blemish removal. None of the softening on, and we've got the selection based on the quick mask. We're going to go under Edit, Copy Merged, and then immediately follow that up with Command V or Edit Paste. And what we've done is we've loaded this in, basically all her skin. Now what we want to do with this is not leave this as it is, because it's just basically, even if we turn the softening on, you don't see any effect because we've got this built over the top. Now most people would just say, well, just drop the opacity back and get some of that texture back in, but that is kind of the weak way of doing this. So if I'm going to double click on this, I'm going to call this texture, and a couple of things I'm going to do to this layer: filter, other, high pass. Now I want to make sure that I've got I'm seeing the pores here. So someplace around 5 or 6 is probably pretty good. I'm going to hit OK, and I am going to go under Image Adjustments, Desaturate, because I want to pull all the saturation. I don't want to be affecting color here. And the blend mode that I'm going to pick is Soft Light. Now with Soft Light selected, I can now turn on my softening, and I can see the softening effect. So I've got softening here and texture here. So in these 3 layers, if I zoom in a little bit closer, I can see that I'm building the texture. If I turn the texture off and on, you can see it come back in. And what I have not done here, remember I said we work hot because I want to be able to back this off and negotiate this. So I'm going to turn the texture off, and I'm just going to balance out the soft R filter and the median noise. So I might take the median noise down a bit, take the soft R filter down a bit as well, just using opacity here. Just getting a nice blend of softening. Then I have the texture on the top. If there's too much texture there, I can drop that opacity back off a little bit and dial it in. And the beauty of this is not only do I have a lot of flexibility right now, I've got this flexibility built into the file. So if I print this and I discover that it's too soft or not soft enough, I can go back and I can make adjustments. This is why I've worked hot, in order to give me the maximum amount. So I know that when I'm working to a heavy degree, to a place where I'd probably not want to be. It's excessive. That way I pull back to a nice safe spot. So the next method we're going to use is a little bit more advanced than this, and that'll be the last part of the scan.